Germany is heading to early elections in less than a week. There is much at stake for political parties and citizens alike. Just days ahead of early polls, leaders of top parties in Germany participated in a televised debate on Sunday. This is the second debate before the February 27th elections. The Russia-Ukraine war was a critical part of this face-off between incumbent Olaf Scholz, front-runner conservative leader Friedrich Merz, and far-right leader Alice Weidel. While politicians debated, citizens protested, thousands took to the streets again in Berlin against the far right. The demonstrations and the demonstrators urged parties not to cooperate with the far right Alternative for Germany or the AfD party.
Die Gedanken sind frei. Das stimmt. Okay.
I just think that the AfD and CDU are a huge problem right now, and that the right is simply far too big to just stay at home and do nothing about it. And I just think that it's right to take to the streets right now, because history must not be allowed to repeat itself. That's why I think it's super important to be active.
Deswegen denke ich, dass es super wichtig ist, aktiv zu sein.
Protests began shortly after US Vice President J.D. Vance's remarks during a speech in Munich on Friday, where he called on Germans to, quote, drop the long-standing taboo against the far-right party. Leader of Germany's opposition, CDU party, has repeatedly said that it will not form any alliance with the AfD. The CDU's position falls in line with a historical motto called "We are the firewall," which is a long-standing position of major political parties in the country to not work with the far-right. Germany goes to polls on Sunday after the three-way coalition government led by Scholz collapsed in November last year. The Chancellor also lost a vote of confidence in December, triggering the early polls. Trent Murray is our correspondent in Germany. He is now joining us live in Berlin. Good to see you, Trent. There's a lot of discontent growing against the far right, the AfD party. Protests have emerged in Germany, in Berlin, as we speak. But before you tell us more about the protests, how did the debate yesterday fare?
Well, this debate was very interesting because for the first time it saw the four major political party leaders come together. In the past, Alice Weidel, the leader of the AfD party, had been excluded from some of those earlier debates. But last night she was given an opportunity to join that stage and to go on the attack against some of her political opponents. We know, of course, it comes as that party does continue to poll at historically high levels, and right now are on track to place second behind the CDU. But the real road bump for her, the challenge that she faces, is that firewall, as you rightly mentioned. The other three parties on that stage continue to vow to not work with the AfD party in forming a government. That is despite some of those major contentious issues like the economy and immigration seemingly driving an increasing number of voters towards that party. What we should mention, of course, is that extraordinary intervention from US President J.D. Vance, Vice President, I should say, forgive me, at the Munich Security Conference, where he said that that firewall should no longer be in place. Friedrich Merz, the front-runner, the leader of the Conservatives, told that debate last night it is not up to an American Vice President to tell him who he can and cannot talk to.
All right, what about the protests?
Well, those protests do continue. They are not an uncommon fixture of the German political scene, especially here in the capital. And I think we will continue to see them in the lead up to voting day next Sunday. Certainly the AfD party, whenever it holds its own rallies, and I was at one just last week covering it as a journalist, and you always see large counter-protests there from other left-wing groups who are opposed to the AfD. But I guess ultimately the deciding factor in all of this is, whilst those protests may continue, right now the polling suggests that they are on track to do quite well. So obviously it will be the voters that have the final say in all of this, and we've got less than 1 week to go until we will hear their verdict.
Trent Murray, good to see you. Thanks. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.